All right, ready? And we're recording in three, two. Well, we're already recording, but three, two, one. What's going on, everybody? My name is Blackliteattack, and I'm here with a bunch of lovely fellas today for the KBMOD podcast. This is episode 91. I'm here today with Brandon, John, aka Hexadecimal, and John, aka a whole bunch of things you wouldn't repeat to your mother. We have a great show for you today, and yeah, let's get started. Let's go ahead and
we should mention Dan is not here this week. He is normally he's normally the one that soldiers through every week and hosts the podcast, but he is under the weather with a cold, and I can confirm over voice communication that he is not in any state to be talking. So
we're figuring right now that the illness actually crept in through his ball scar and entered his grundle. So, R.I.P. Dan's taint.
Yeah, and Scott is too busy drinking. It's Cinco de Mayo when we're recording this, so that's pretty important to him and his Mexican heritage.
Right. So, based on the situation, Dan may be dead, but Scott is just dead to us. So, either way, neither of them are here for us right now. So, sorry guys. So today, I guess we'll start off as usual with the what everybody's been playing. So why don't you go ahead and start, Brandon?
Let's see. I've been playing a bunch of Smite, which is just really good. I don't know. I've been enjoying it a lot recently, and so I've been playing ARAMs in Smite and League because League just introduced an ARAM queue. So there's a lot of there's just a lot of ARAM stuff going on in my life, whether it be Smite or League.
You think ARAM's something that's built for fun for the game, but ARAM is built to sell champions to you.
Hey,
and
that's
it's gonna work.
That's fine. I mean, I enjoy it because no one takes ARAM seriously. Like, even if people are having a bad game, you can just be like, well, all right, we lost. But it's like every time you play a regular 5 versus 5 game in Smite and League, really any MOBA, it's like everyone has to be on their game, or if someone feeds, like everyone hates that person, and so I don't know, it's just a much lower pressure. And
it's hard to get mad at ARAM.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it's not at all.
Yeah.
Well, but the other thing I like too is it's the thing that I hated about League is when you're playing with other people, you don't want to risk playing champions you don't know because you're probably going to suck and you're going to let the team down. Whereas in ARAM, that's the whole point. And so it's a good way to learn the champions before you actually need to already kind of know them, so that you play well with the team. Anyway, so Smite and League, those have both been fun. And I'm trying to finish up BioShock Infinite. I played several hours yesterday, and playing probably a little more after this podcast to hopefully finish that up. But that's also excellent, as usual. So that's about it.
Great. Yes, you're only about like a month behind on BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm not normally a single-player kind of guy, so for me, being a month behind is actually pretty big deal. I bought it at $60, which I never do. So
I don't know, it was worth it. It's short, but I think that's one of the few short games I played where it was really worth the $60. So great story. How about you, John? Hexadecimal, go with Hex first.
This week, still not a whole lot of stuff played. I'm always playing Isaac for some period of time. Still playing the Move Into Your House game, which is really stupid and shitty, and I hate it, and it's going to get a really bad review on Metacritic.
Yeah, I heard you're playing the run wires to your dryer or whatever it was.
Yeah, I played this great game today where you run cabling from your electrical box to your dryer, which is on the opposite side of your gigantic basement, and it's a horrible game. It takes 2.5 hours, and you hurt yourself in the process.
What was your frame rate?
Oh, 120 frames a second.
I personally like the mini game where you miss our long-standing schedule to show up together on Skype and get our Pathfinder game going.
Yeah. What happened was my buddy Devin is an electrician, or he's an electrical engineer, and knows how to do this stuff.
Devin so much, why don't you marry him?
I can't. He's already married. But as far as actual games, I play a little bit of Smite. I'm playing Blood Dragon. I missed the launch party for it, but I was just playing it before we got started, and that game is hilariously awesome. I really, really like that game. So far, that's like my favorite game this year.
You played Game Dev Tycoon on stream.
I did. We had a great stream on Thursday for
We
Game
had
Dev
some
Tycoon.
really solid game titles.
Yeah, we had some great game titles. That game is a lot of fun. It's still a little buggy. For some reason, my audio wigs out, and I can't figure out why. And when you turn the audio off after about 5 minutes, the game goes, "Hey, did you know the audio's off?" And it turns it back on for you automatically. So I just literally turned the volume all the way down and listened to the Zelda Symphony the entire time.
That CD is like 30 minutes long.
Yeah, I just listened
Ren
to it on loop.
LOL makes an excellent point in chat, by the way.
Yeah, Hex had a decent stream. I mean, that's why I called it out, because normally Hex's streams, are not things I would watch.
They're as
Right.
interesting as the
That's great. You guys are awesome. All right, so
No, I'm just giving him a hard time. But we had my favorite game title, I think, was Alien versus Redditor. Was
Yeah,
excellent.
I was basically just letting the chat pick everything. Like, what are we gonna call the game? Okay, what kind of
pretty
game is
good.
it? And it was surprisingly, like, I thought that game would be really boring to watch stream, and it was a great one for viewer interaction. Like, you can just talk to the stream the whole time. It's kind of hands off. You just like watch progress bars fill up, and then you take stupid requests from the chat, and it was great. That was honestly like my favorite stream I think I've ever done for KBMOD.
Yeah, people seem to love it. I was just enjoying seeing people's creativity.
Yeah, it's honestly that social aspect for streaming that game, because like after a while, like you can only like when I played it by myself, I would literally just find a way to put dick in every title. Like, oh, the Dick Real Engine 2 is what we're
I've
developing
taught
right
you
now.
well, young Paddle.
So I mean, it was really nice to get other people's creativity in there and just have them be involved. That game was a ton of fun, and it's $8. And if you
Yeah.
buy it from greenheartgames.com when it gets on Steam, they'll give you a Steam key for free. So.
You had some pretty catastrophic failures there on the Garrett's engine.
Oh god, the Garrett's engine. That engine was apparently designed specific to fuck me. Like any game I developed on the Garrett's engine was immediately like two.
It's living up to its name.
But that's it. That's what I've been playing this week.
Hell yeah. I gotta try that game. I'm big on sim games. Now, when you name your game, if you have like a creative ass name, does that actually affect anything, or is that just for like your own personal, like being able to keep track of which game is selling?
It's just for
I have
show,
no
right?
idea. I think it's just for show. Yeah.
Just for show, yeah.
But I mean, for
Okay.
$8, I got like 3 or 4 hours of amusement out of it already, which is basically like the ratio of money to time spent playing the game I need.
Yeah. And how about you, John? What have you been playing?
Team Fortress 2 Electronic Sports. I'm an athlete, if you guys didn't know. I am very athletic. And Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, you've
Which
been
is
on a Guild Wars
interesting.
2 kick recently.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. I want
respectfully disagree.
I want to get to level 80 so I can see how bad it is. That's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because like you can say an MMO's bad, but like Nick, you say an MMO's bad, you haven't experienced
Yeah,
the end
but-
game. Like you have
True.
no idea.
That's
like
true.
and that's what an MMO is end game. Leveling is stupid, and it doesn't matter. So I gotta
I
get
always-
the
I
character
don't
to
know.
level 80 so I can see how shit it is.
I
And
always
it might be good.
like
I want to kill dragons. That's all I want to do.
comparing it to my experience playing World of Warcraft. When I was first leveling my first character in World of Warcraft, I was enthralled by the
Oh,
game
yeah.
world, and maybe Guild Wars 2 really isn't that bad, and it's just that I'm sort of jaded to a large open world like that, and it's just kind of like, okay, I've seen it before, but honestly, the game world just didn't lock me in. It just all felt very samey. I feel like 1 to 10 was pretty dynamic, and then after that, it was just the same thing from there on out.
Vanilla WoW leveling was the worst experience of my fucking life. And no
Seriously?
idea
You thought it was
which.
that
It
bad?
was so bad. It was like, hey, 16 hours /played. Mind you, I was retarded and I leveled as a resto druid, so that was
Okay, well,
probably
that's
had
your-
a big part of it.
Yeah, you
But it was still obnoxiously long.
don't blame WoW for
I mean,
your
no,
personal mistakes.
It did
Show
take
us-
a long time, and there was a lot of grinding. But I mean, personally, me growing up on Final Fantasy and Pokemon, grinding was never really that big a deal to me. I kind of enjoyed it, but I don't know. I feel like Guild Wars 2. It's not that Guild Wars 2 is grindy. It's really not. It's just that it doesn't matter what you're doing. I think that it's actually an issue with the fact that everything gives you experience, and while that sounds cool on paper, in practice it's just kind of boring. It's like, well, I can really do whatever the fuck I want. And eventually going to make it, I guess. It's just like, I don't know. I'm having a hard time wording why I don't like it, but it just doesn't
You're a
grab
piece
me.
of shit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, let's put
You
it
hate
down
everything.
to I'm a piece of shit. Oh, because Nick Fenton isn't here, so I have
Yeah,
to.
you have to be the I hate everything. You are the token
Okay.
Nick.
Well, I am the other Nick, and I'm somewhat cynical sometimes as well. So
I just want to kill dragons, and then that'll be all.
Yeah,
Guardians.
I want to see how you like it at endgame, because that's why I've never really given a hard opinion one way or the other on Guild Wars, because I agree completely that you can't base a game, like your opinion on a game, just on like a 0 to 40 leveling or anything. You have to get to endgame and then experience that part of it, because I knew a lot of people that when they say they played WoW, they were like, oh yeah, I got a character to like level 35. I was like, you experienced less than a quarter of the game.
Yep.
Yeah,
My
that-
highest level character is 42, and I stopped playing 3 years ago.
Yeah, and
Well-
that's fine. It's just that like people that talk about it as if they've actually experienced the game, it's like you really haven't. You have to dig into it.
WoW is 1% of the game is leveling. At least
Yeah,
back
you know
in,
why I stopped at 40? Because Stranglethorn Vale during BC was basically Gank Town. Like, you just
It was
sat
even
there.
worse
That's-
than
That
vanilla
was
because nobody was in
that was
Outland.
probably mostly me and Brandon sitting
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dustwall
would not
and
surprise
Marsh,
me.
not a safe place. Stranglethorn
that-
Vale, not a safe place.
That,
And that's
that
where
reminds
you
me.
had to go.
I still remember going to GameStop and waiting in line for for what was it, Wrath of the Lich King, I think, and just sitting there like talking to people in line, just like striking up conversation. And this guy's like, "Oh man, I've been so addicted to this game," and I was like, "Oh man, like how far did you get? Like talking progression wise?" And he's like, "Oh, I got into that like Terracar Forest. It was pretty rough." I was like, "Yeah, it is, isn't it?" I didn't know what to say to him. I was like, all right. I was in like an endgame rating guild. So I wasn't like terribly endgame, but I was at least rating. And I was kind of like, just yeah. It's I mean that's the thing about MMOs. There's so many different levels of commitment between the players, and I would say that the amount of players that end up playing endgame and getting really serious about it are actually relatively small compared to the casual players. People's moms and stuff. So that's the
But
kind of
those are the people that you can count on to subscribe for 5+ years. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
WoW has lived on, is that word of mouth from those hardcore players, and a lot of whom still subscribe today.
true. Well,
They
I
just
assume
roped Dan
that's
back in.
Yeah, Dan just got fucking
And he almost
Got
had me. I was
bruised
so
right back
close.
into that.
I almost bought the game. I was like, God damn it, don't. And I'm really glad I didn't.
Dan's
Yeah.
playing it
Yeah.
the same way I am now, though. It's just like whatever. I'm
I'm
play
actually-
it for a couple hours. Like
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't
that's
know.
kind of the beauty of it now, is that you can do that and still progress.
Hearing that like we were getting a guild going and everything, and like Dan was playing again, I was like really tempted to get back into it and buy the new expansions and just level a new character. But then luckily I ended up watching the stream for a few hours and just being like, holy shit, this game looks boring. Like I forgot how like badly the gameplay aged. Not to mention the graphical. The overall.
I think the art aged really well, personally.
The art did age very well, but it still looks really dated. I mean, I
It's
still
a
think
decade
it has,
old.
no, that's absolutely true. But it's still like it just shows its age. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like, God damn, this game is old. Now the art style is unique and cartoony and colorful enough that it will have some lasting power, and I think TF2 is going to be the same way. Even now, I mean, you could even make the argument now that TF2 doesn't look the best, but
I think TF2
I think
is the best
TF2
looking game on the
actually,
market.
yeah, I mean, I think TF2 is
love
probably going to
TF2s.
age, at this rate, TF2 is going to age better than
Well-
WoW did graphically.
Oh, yeah.
well, now I'm saying like compare that to like BioShock Infinite.
I
Well-
think TF2 looks better. If you crank TF2 up on full settings with Chris's max quality config, it looks like a goddamn movie.
I'm gonna have to try that. But anyway,
What have you been
I have
playing,
been
Nick?
playing. I have been playing. I've been getting back into TF2. Obviously, not as hard X core as John over here, but I've been getting back into that pub grind and considering. I'm still toying with the idea of joining a Highlander team, or at least jumping into a few Highlander TF2 lobbies and seeing what I can get done. Still on that grind, trying to save up for a strange festive knife, which is like $60 in real life money. So.
Lord.
Yeah, I'm trying to accumulate the TF2 item equivalent of that without actually spending money, but I don't think I'm gonna make it. I might have to buy some keys to finally round off the total.
How many unusuals you got?
One.
I got 3. Suck a bag of dicks.
How do you have 3 unusuals?
Because I'm
Do you
I'm incredible.
Do you actually trade, or do people just
No.
give them to you?
No, I won one on a stream, and I unboxed the other 2.
You unboxed 2 unusuals.
2 crates in a row. I
What
unboxed
the
them.
fuck? The odds of that are astronomical. It's literally a
Yeah,
1%
I've spent
chance.
like $400 on keys since then and never unboxed one, so it's fine.
Jesus Christ. I have unboxed quite a few crates in my day. I don't anymore because mostly what you get out of crates are stranges, and the strange market just completely tanked because stranges aren't worth anything anymore because they just flooded the market with stranges. A couple every now and then you'll see a strange that's worth a decent amount, but if you actually trade on TF2, uncrating boxes is not the way to go. And actually, the fact that people do like mass uncratings is why keys have skyrocketed, because nobody's buying keys anymore. There's an ever decreasing amount of keys in the economy. It's kind of shitty.
Nick Jenkins, TF2 economist here for you.
Yeah. I majored in TF2 economics. Also, I picked up Poker Night 2, Poker Night at the Inventory. It's a
Oh yeah, I got that.
game by
Picked it up for the items.
Yep, got it entirely for the TF2 items, just like the first one. And it's pretty fun. I mean, it's basically just a single-player Texas Hold'em game, and you sit down and play with a couple of fictional characters. And this game, it's Brock Sampson from what's it called, Venture Brothers.
Venture Brothers, yep.
Yeah, Claptrap from Borderlands, and Sam from Sam and Max, and then Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. And actually,
it's a
GLaDOS
pretty
is
good
the
mix.
dealer. Huh?
It's a pretty good mix. I thought that
Yeah,
a lot of the context, like the humor, is pretty decent.
They have a pretty good lineup this time, and I feel like a lot of people complained that the first game sort of had like a B-list lineup. It was like the heavy Max from
Sort
Sam
of
and
like our
Max.
guests on this podcast this week.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
B-list.
Exactly.
It was
but
Tycho from Penny Arcade,
Tycho
who was
from-
not anywhere near as funny as I expected to be.
Yeah, it's kind of the same way with Ash in the second one though. Ash
Yeah.
he doesn't even sound or feel like his character. Also, Brock Sampson says a lot of things that are like really out of character. Like really, just like I just couldn't imagine Brock ever saying that. I wish I could come up with an example, but I don't know. I'm not a big poker player, and I'm pretty terrible at the game. But I've already got 2 of the 4 items, or I think there's 5 items actually. But that's pretty fun. We were playing some Just Cause 2 multiplayer beta while it was still up.
Good.
What a
Beginning
great
of the-
game.
So
That
good.
was really good. So fun, just so stupid and explosive, and just overall really stupid good time.
I wish they could do like a Kickstarter or something for that mod, so we
I
could
know.
fund them just so they could do that as their job and
I
make
know.
that like a full-fledged thing. Because it's getting so good, but it's still like, I mean, it was
Yeah,
still a
it's-
little bit buggy. It's not quite there, but
I
you
want it
just
to
see-
remain buggy. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It's
but I
still
mean, I
impossible
want
to shoot anybody.
I want the stuff like the factions and stuff to work, because that's
Yeah.
what really makes it awesome. Like when
Oh,
you
yeah.
when you and friends can join up in your own little faction and go to kind of an uninhabited part of the world and have people teleport in, because it's like otherwise you have to meet up at the spots that everyone else is at, and that just ends poorly about half the time.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they turn on? They had spawn protection turned on for like the first couple days, and then all of a sudden it was gone. And then instead of like spawning, you would just parachute in.
Yeah, which I mean,
That helped. But
yeah,
I
it's
kind of like that.
it's fine either way, but it's like you still have to give someone coordinates to where you're at or something, and they have to come to you. It's like you, with the amount you die, you have to have that teleport to people functionality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There was also the complaint that I kept trying to get a funny clip. I crashed my bike in a really hilarious way and like wiped out 3 palm trees with my ragdolling body. So I was trying to replicate that so I could make a funny video out of it and put it on my YouTube channel. And some jack-off, one of you actually, it was definitely a KBMOD fan, kept jacking my bike. Whoever that was, I'm going to kill your family. I had a video
Wow.
to make. But anyway, I'm not bitter.
YouTube ending lives.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, yeah. I'm pretty sure Woody's gamertag has killed a guy. You can see it in his eyes. But and the last thing I've been playing recently has been Shoot Mania Storm.
how is that?
Why?
I played it briefly. It's pretty interesting. John obviously doesn't think so, but I have to say it's okay. It's okay. It's I like the mechanics when it comes to actually shooting, it kind of feels like everybody is the soldier in TF2, but with no explosion. So you have to direct hit everybody. So when you actually manage to hit somebody, you actually feel like damn, that was a nice shot.
No.
You want to share? You want to share? You have something to add?
No, I'm good. Yeah, I agree with everything he said. It's the best.
But the movement is, I feel really, I don't know, like it has some of those
incredible.
advanced.
It's better than Quake. It's the best. It's the next.
It has some of those like advanced mechanics, but overall like the movement just feels really odd. Like you can't sprint without jumping first.
What?
Yeah,
What?
there is a sprint, but you have to jump first.
That is a horrible design decision.
It is. It definitely is. It's really weird. I don't know. Overall, I think it's good for a glance. I don't regret that I paid for it, but I don't see it going anywhere.
I got it for free.
I mean,
Well.
I just remember watching people play that game at PAX and thinking, this doesn't even look fun.
It's going to be, once it's modded, it will end up being good.
I
would
think
agree
the
with that.
movement is the biggest thing that I don't really like.
Yes,
It's
definitely.
because it's not if it had Quake style movement where you had like some strafe jumping and things, it would be more interesting. But the game just feels like it wants to be Quake, but it's not on the Quake engine, and so I don't know, it's just a really weird feeling that I never really got used to.
Yeah, it also definitely needs some more variety because like everybody's locked into using the same weapon. I think in some game types you have like 2 or 3 weapons.
That's my other problem with it. Is it feels like you stripped down, or at least what they've attempted to do is strip down the competitive shooter to its very basic parts, which is movement and some sort of projectile weapon. But that's it.
So they're
And
trying to do insta-give matches wrong?
Well, yeah, it's kind of.
Kind of.
I mean, kind of. It's like Quake Instagib, but not as fun because it's not as fast-paced. And Instagib is hit scan, so like the projectiles, it could be interesting, but it's like it's just not.
Definitely.
It needs some more variety for me, and the movement isn't there. Which for me, like that is why I would play a shooter for those 2 things. So
Right. Honestly, increase the speed, get rid of this retarded jump sprinting thing, and give everybody explosive weapons instead of this.
Rebuild the game on the Quake engine.
Yep.
basically that.
Just basically start over. Just go home and start over.
Cut your losses now. Kill yourselves.
All right,
That's probably
guys.
the best thing.
We're gonna head into a quick commercial break, 90 seconds here, and when we come back, we will hit the news.
That was some smooth talking right there. That was some radio announcer shit.
All right.
When we come back, we will hit the news.
I forgot we didn't last week. That Game Dev Tycoon piracy thing.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That's the only reason I bought that game.
Yeah, we are definitely gonna talk about that.
I bet
'cause
they
that's
actually
interesting.
got a ton of sales off of that.
Oh, absolutely. It was if nothing else a brilliant marketing ploy, because they knew it would get picked up by all the gaming news sites.
I remember Arkham Asylum, I think it was, did something similar, but it
Yep,
was
they did that
less
thing with the
hilarious
Batcave.
because Arkham Asylum wasn't about making video games.
Right. Yeah, they did that thing where, like, if you had pirated the game, the first cracks that came out, there was, like, some section you literally could not pass because the bat grappling hook didn't work.
Yeah, but it looked like it should have.
Right.
Like, it was something like... It was like a jump that you couldn't make, but it looked like you should be able to make it. There was, like, an invisible wall, or, like you said, I think the grappling hook just didn't work. And that's just hilarious. But it's even funnier when you add that little layer of hypocrisy where you make pirates lose everything to piracy because then they go onto forums and complain about how pirating is bullshit.
Yeah,
It was
I thought that's this is one of the smoothest ways I've seen of handling it. Like handling sort of that thing. But we'll talk about it more in the news. I don't want to spoil it for the people watching commercials here.
I'm sure they're enjoying those commercials. I hope they're watching the
I
new
hope
Black
so.
Ops commercial.
All right, we are back,
Or-
heading
or-
into the news with a timestamp. All right, first piece of news we have here, as John does something with his keyboard or something.
I'm eating a delicious Ferrero chocolate egg right now.
All right.
So we can hear.
I'll
Yeah, it's
allow it.
fucking delicious.
First piece of news. This was kind of a thing that blew up pretty quickly. The ESEA client, so ESEA is a competitive league, There's a client.
Electronics. I'm an athlete in that league. So.
Yeah. John is a participant in that league. It's a bunch of athletes, and so the ESEA has a client which you can correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I think it's basically just for anti-cheat.
Yes, and Bitcoin mining.
Wow. Yeah. So
Well,
so
How many bitcoins did you get out of that, John?
47.
Well, so the ESEA, their client, I guess people had seen the client pegging their CPUs out, and apparently some people had like hardware failures, and it was discovered that the ESEA client was mining bitcoins to an ESEA account. So basically using people's spare CPU cycles to help ESEA profit in the Bitcoin mining business. Pretty
It's a smart plan, actually,
it's-
until you get caught.
well, yeah, considering it's really easy to
There's no
track
confirmation that it was an ESEA wallet. I'm going to tell you what happened. The software engineer built those in there as an April Fool's joke, and then he, said wasn't going to do it because it was just dangerous, and then he ended up doing it anyway. Set up a wallet of his own under
Right.
the ESEA name. The money all went to him. I would hope that he's been fired.
Yeah, it
Because
sounded
I know Torbil, Craig, the guy who runs ESEA, and he is like a fantastic human being, and there's no fucking way that he would have ever even considered something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't-
it was all in the
I
article.
don't think it obviously makes no sense from ESEA's standpoint to actually like try and build that in and not tell anyone about it. It sounds like it was a rogue engineer, trying to pull a fast one on people. But this got picked up on like Ars Technica and stuff. It's definitely not a good look for competitive gaming.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and
Blew up your computer, April fucking Fools.
And you can tell they're really scrambling to try to save face on this. They took all the money that was mined from the bitcoins, it was like something like $3,500, and they donated it to a cancer research foundation. I forget which charity it
American
said.
Cancer
They
Society.
also matched
Yeah,
it. in their
and they matched it, so it ended
and
up
they
being about
added that much
$7,000
total to the prize pool as well for the next
Right.
season. So.
Yeah, I think their response to it, at least their official response, has been
LP
pretty
Kane's
good.
response was not very good.
Yeah, the unofficial responses, like from people on forums and things that are affiliated with the SCA, have not been as good as their official response was. But it is. I haven't seen like firsthand if there are any people complaining about actual GPUs failing and stuff. But if so, I hope the DSCA is like going out of their way to help those people, because it seems like it would probably affect people with like poor PCs more than it would someone with like a really good graphics card. So I don't know. I hope they make that stuff right. But it's a shame either way.
There is a little something in the article saying that anybody who had lasting damage to their hardware or lasting effects to their performance should contact them and open up a service ticket. So I would imagine they're probably like reimbursing people.
Yeah, I
for
hope
any
they
damage
do.
caused.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
That would be really unfortunate if they don't. But anyway, the SCA, not a good PR week for them. Next up, we have some news on the GeForce GTX 780. So there are rumors that the 780 is going to release this month. It's expected to release on May 23rd at precisely 6 a.m. Pacific time. So I don't know exactly what the significance of that. Yeah, that seems weirdly specific. And it sounds like that rumor is from the site Fudzilla, which is kind of hit and miss when it comes to hardware rumors. But anyway, it's the bottom line is it sounds like Nvidia is, their cards are coming pretty soon. So it's good news for builders like us, where I know there's a lot of people probably hanging on to like 560 Ti's who skipped the 600 series. And maybe waiting for like a 760 or 770, which maybe you won't be waiting as long as we initially thought.
I'll buy one. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the benchmarks on the 780, because I think we're getting to the point where like the 660 Ti is a pretty ridiculous value, just like the 560 Ti was before it. I can't wait to see what like the 760 Ti kind of card is going to be, like that $250 range. I have a feeling it's going to be a monster.
I don't know. I would definitely throw money at it if it's worth it. That's what I have to add to this conversation. You're welcome.
I don't need it, but I'm going to have one. That's what I have to add.
Well, we'll see. There may be maybe some more interesting details at Computex that we'll find out about. Anyway, rumors. Next, we have Game Dev Tycoon, the game we were just talking about that Hex streamed earlier this week. They did an interesting thing with the release of their game, which we've seen before. I can't recall specifically what other games have done this, but it's not unprecedented for a developer to seed their own like cracked version of the game on torrent sites to sort of affect the experience of the pirates. And so Greenheart Games, the small developer of this game, Game Dev Tycoon, right when they released the full version of their game on their website, they also seeded their own version to Pirate Bay. And the version that they uploaded obviously, caught fire, as new torrents do. And but the one difference is that once you got to a certain point in the game, they put in a message saying that like our sales, like people love our game, but we can't make any money because everyone's pirating it. And so
it would be something like 97% of all copies of your game that got moved were pirated, so you only ended up making like 2% of your investment or something.
Yeah. So the most interesting stuff I thought was the pirates that post on the forums asking for help. Like, why can't I go any farther? Why can't I like research DRM or something, because I can't seem to get past these pirates in my game? And so I think that stuff is really funny when they don't bother to do a quick Google check, because this is like right on the game dev's blog. They posted this on Monday, but people still, pirates are not typically the smartest people, and so they're asking for help with their cracked game.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I like this stuff. I mean, I like when a publisher will do something like, or this is just a small developer, but like when they seed their own version and kind of poison the well for torrented copies. I think that is a much more effective way to combat piracy.
Are you watching NASCAR, John?
That wasn't me.
No, that was somebody outside my window.
Somebody's peeling out. Arkham Asylum did the same thing, the first Arkham Asylum game. And I believe Nintendo's known for doing that, actually. On pirate sites for like R4 cards. Yeah, actually they did Pokemon, one of the Pokemon, I think it was Pokemon Platinum, and one of the Mario and Luigi games, I believe Bowser's Inside Story. So I don't know, I guess they have something to do with their RPGs. I guess it's just easy for them to screw up RPGs since it's all like stat-based. But what they like to do is make it so that it's impossible for you to gain XP in the game.
Yeah.
And
that was really funny.
Yeah, and you'll download a cracked version, and none of your Pokemon or none of your Marios and Luigis will be able to gain any levels. You'll be forever stuck at level 1.
Yeah, obviously people pirate for different reasons, but I feel like instead of trying to get all of the pirated torrent copies off of the internet, which is not possible, like why don't you just try and make the most popular one? That seems like that would be, I don't know, I just think this is one of the most clear and concise experiments I've seen, where like this version will probably be the top seeded version or whatever, and that's typically what pirates go for, is the one that they can download quickly, easily, they can get it, and it has like a legit rating or whatever. If developers did this on their own with like a bogus copy, they'd probably turn some of those pirates into customers, because once they Google for like the thing that they can't do, they'll be like, oh, this is only in the pirated version and I'm dumb.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason I bought the game. Like, I didn't even pirate the game first, but when I read that article, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this game. I'm going to buy that just because that's hilarious.
Well, yeah, it was really clever PR on their point because it's so novel a way, and it's just so, I don't, quote unquote ironic. It's not really irony, but sort of ironic. You got all this hypocrisy going on from the pirates. It's just funny. It's funny to listen to and look at. So it's drawing more attention to the game. Obviously, it makes game news sites want to report on it, like we're doing now, and more people end up looking into the game. I wouldn't have even heard of this game if it wasn't for this whole fiasco. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at picking it up now.
Yeah, I think if you do this kind of thing in the right way, news sites love to report on this kind of stuff. But it's like if you do it in the wrong way, where you might hurt paying customers or something. Like there are a lot of ineffective kind of DRM methods, but there's no DRM on the actual game. They just seeded like a poisoned copy up to torrent sites. So legitimate customers, like they'll never experience any ill effects from this, which I think is the best part of it. Like there are never going to be any false positives.
Well, you might get the occasional like pirate who's too proud to buy the actual game because he got rused.
Well,
but other than that,
They're not
Okay.
losing a customer then at that point. Like they're not going to lose any customers from it.
Yeah, no,
they're only
you're
going to
right.
gain. So
you're right.
So next up we have
oh,
some
God.
news that maybe we don't even care about, but
I sure as
Well,
fuck don't.
well, so Respawn Entertainment, which is the studio that the ex-Call of Duty creators founded, who has been kind of like secretive and working on something that they haven't really been willing to talk about for probably the better part of like 3 years at this point. Apparently, it's a console exclusive. It's an Xbox 360 exclusive.
Yep. Don't
So,
care. Next news story, please.
so
Well,
there's that.
What's kind of funny is that they said they're working on a multi-platform product, and everybody's like, "Oh, multi-platform, maybe it'll come to PC." And
It's going to be on your phone.
But apparently the multiple platforms are Xbox and the next Xbox, so technically they're not lying.
That's
It's not like they had a chance anyway. Sark left, so they're dead. Respawn's dead.
Respawn Entertainment.
Yep. RIP Respawn
Affiliated
Entertainment.
directly with Machinima Respawn.
They're the same thing.
I
They have the same name, so.
I feel
It's
like
a downer.
there's yeah, it's unfortunate. There's for them to just completely dismiss the PC market with a game that they've been working on for so long. It seems like wasted potential to me. But anyway, we've kind of updated people because we've talked about Respawn at various points, and this is their secret project doesn't matter anymore. So we probably won't talk about them again unless they have some change of heart. Next up, we have Watch Dogs, a game that is coming to PC. The release date is set for November 19th.
On my birthday, can't wait.
There you go.
Looks good from what I've seen. It
Good
looks
birthday
like it's
present.
going to be good.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah. They had a little video segment that we went to at PAX East, which didn't show us a ton, but I mean, it still looks like a super interesting game. The connectivity part of it is apparently going to be a quote unquote core pillar of the game, according to Ubisoft. So I'm curious to see what this actually means. Like, I feel like there are so many different ways you could do this that don't matter. Because like they say things like, we wanted the player to be able to connect to Watch Dogs even through his mobile.
Yeah.
I'm assuming mobile phone.
Yeah,
It's like,
which
okay.
immediately makes me think like the auction house app for
Right.
WoW, which
Well,
is like, it's nice,
But if
like,
it's that, that's actually pretty awesome. Like the Auction House app, I think is a good example of making a mobile
Ways that-
complement to a game. But I'm thinking
Exactly.
like there's so many dumb things you can do though that don't matter to a game that you're just like you're kind of like checking a box. Like we have this cool mobile integration, but what it actually means is it's like these things that no one cares about.
Right.
right.
Well, and
It's-
they've said in every one of their like demos that they've showed off that someone else was playing the game that you didn't even see. Like, wasn't the initial E3 demo they showed like here's the game and people were playing and we tag all this stuff, but then afterwards people started watching the footage again. They're like, wait a minute, there are other players happening right now that we're not even seeing. And somebody from the dev team was like, yep. We wondered how long it would take somebody to figure that out, but like I wasn't
That's
the only one
awesome.
on the stage playing the game. So that connectivity where it's like a seamless single player multiplayer experience, I think could be really cool if it's done right. But if it's just some bullshit phone app, I don't really care.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how it turns out because I mean, if it's like a complementary thing, there needs to actually be some sort of infrastructure, some sort of like I don't know economy to the game in order to make that worthwhile. Like the reason an auction house app works is because there's an economy in World of Warcraft for each server.
Right.
Same thing with like Diablo, same thing with Team Fortress 2. You know, if there are apps for that, people will end up using them, and it'll be cool because you can be dealing transactions in your virtual world from work or whatever. But
Yeah,
if it's just like a very story-driven game, or
like there needs to be a use case for it. The auction house
exactly.
stuff, or like crafting in an MMO, or looking at your inventory, like those are cool things
Trading.
that you can see a real use for. Like you're not going to sit on the game all day, but maybe you want to buy something on the auction house before you get home or something. Those really make sense, and I think complement the game well. I don't see the tie-in for that kind of thing with Watch Dogs, so it just makes me skeptical when I hear things like connected, and they're talking about a bunch of features that until I hear what you can actually do with it, it's like I'm just gonna have to assume that it's not good because so many people have done it really poorly.
Yeah, they're really gonna have to. I mean, because we still know so little about the game. It honestly could be the kind of game where that works, but we just don't know that yet. Based on what we've seen, it looks like a sandbox game. It looks like a really cool sandbox game, but still just a sandbox game. And I really don't see how that sort of the connectivity with a smartphone could really work in a way that's meaningful or interesting. And Ubisoft is kind of known for making these grand statements and like this is going to be so cool, and then it ends up not being that impressive, and it's like, you technically did what you said,
their
but
track record this year has been very good, though.
That's true. That's true. This year,
incredible.
What was you cut out?
Far Cry 3 was incredible.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was them. Actually, I don't know how I forgot that.
And
Blood Dragon is amazing.
Blood Dragon's good. The last Assassin's Creed was apparently really good. So they've had. I mean, this year's good.
Yeah, well, let's hope that it continues. But I mean, this is definitely them treading on some new ground. So let's hope that they can actually pull it out, because I would like to be proven wrong on this, but like Brandon, I'm going to remain skeptical.
Good point in chat. I bet it's a map of your friends playing, and you can mess with the traffic lights near them.
That would be cool.
That would actually be interesting.
That would be cool. Like, since you can
I feel like there are some really innovative things you could do, but I just feel like those probably won't be the ones that actually get into the game.
Yeah, and it's also like, how do you manage things like, oh, okay, it would be cool if you could like hack a security camera while your friends are playing in the city, but how can you render that without without as powerful graphical options as
I feel like all the cool things are gonna the really cool, neat, innovative things are the tech isn't quite there for, like, how am I gonna render the game world on my phone and actually have like some cool interaction there? It's got to be stuff that's more static, that's kind of like looking at data, or not like real-time graphics. Maybe it is, but I would be really surprised if that actually pans out that way.
Definitely.
Let's see. So that was the news. We have a couple quick hits. Intel has confirmed that Haswell is going to launch on June 3rd. At Computex, or maybe that's right before Computex. Either way, Computex is kind of the big unveiling for Haswell, and we have part lists and prices. Nothing huge to really report there, because I mean the stuff that we care about for the most part is like benchmarks and price to performance. But the prices fall in line with about what I would expect, except that the 4770, which is replacing the 3770, it looks like jumping up to the K version, which is the unlocked version that you can overclock, is a $40 price difference, where I think it was a $20 price difference with this generation, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So, and it's still on the lower parts, the 4670 and the 4670K. It's only $20 difference, but it scares me a little bit that it looks like maybe they're already trying to squeeze more out of the enthusiast on that high end, which, given their market position, is hard to argue with. But it's those parts look like they're probably not going to get any cheaper as Intel gains more ground against AMD. So the MSRP for that 4770K part is $368. So it's going to be in your high-end rigs, but the other ones are around the lower $200 mark. So they'll be within reach for probably our $800 build, hopefully. Anyway, Haswell, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be something that people probably take up slowly, because Sandy Bridge and Ivy Bridge are already meeting a lot of people's needs.
Yeah, I still have Sandy, and I kind of put off upgrading to Ivy, so I'm going to look at benchmarks, and if the benchmarks don't impress me, I'm getting 3930K.
Yeah, and that's still an option for the super high end. That's where I think it's interesting, is does Haswell make a play against the Ivy Bridge extreme parts like the 3930K and the 3960X, and I think those are still going to be more powerful. Granted, they also cost like 3 times as much, so.
Right. Well, isn't Haswell mainly going to be a focus on just their GPU end of things?
That's where the main focus is. I think it's going to be another one of the kind of Sandy Bridge to Ivy Bridge type performance increases.
Right.
Whereas typically, so this is the talk in the cycle. Whereas
this is
Ivy
the big
Bridge,
change.
yeah, Ivy Bridge was the tick, the refinement of the architecture. This is the talk, but I don't think we're going to see the kind of crazy gains we've seen out of talks in the past, because a lot of the gains are going to be on the GPU side and like the battery life side for for certain applications. So
They're all triple lines.
I think it's definitely gonna help kind of lower the barrier to entry for gaming PCs, because these I think the 4770K, the GPU on that is going to be definitely more capable than anything else we've seen on board. So it's not going to affect us much because we have discrete graphics cards, but for your average Joe who is buying a PC and also maybe decides he wants to play games after the fact, this could be an awesome thing. Other quick hits, the new League patch we talked about briefly. They're having an event like the Freljord event, or Freylord, I don't know how you pronounce it, but they have an event going on. They released a new patch with an actual queue for ARAM games. So unfortunately Scott is not here.
Mid?
Yeah, I'm sure Scott would want to talk more about that, but because he's not here, he's missing out. And the last piece of news I added in, RIP old TweetDeck. Apparently the old and last good version of TweetDeck is dying in like a couple days, and I just had to add that in.
How was the new one so much worse?
It's just complete garbage.
Horrible.
Think of the best program ever and the worst program ever, and then that's the scenario.
Yeah, it's just really bad.
I'll take your word for it.
Twitter bought them, and so Twitter, I think, has slowly assimilated TweetDeck into like its own look and feel, which came at the detriment to all of TweetDeck's users.
Right. Well, the old TweetDeck just had a lot more features than what the new TweetDeck has.
Yeah, Twitter has been in the process of dumbing down TweetDeck for like 2 years now, but it sounds like they're actually cutting off API access for the old version, so that's a shame. We have no new releases this week, at least according to Dan. He put no new releases on the document. I'm going to trust him.
That's fine. Fuck video games.
So we're going to take a quick 90-second commercial break, and we will be back with your Twitter questions.
Yeah.
Did anything new come out this week?
I guess Blood Dragon, but these are releases for the upcoming week, right? So Blood Dragon.
Oh. I think we covered Blood Dragon last podcast.
Yeah. I don't think there are any new releases, at least none that I can think of off the top of my head.
Not worth talking about. Oh well, Fez.
So
not
worth talking about.
Fez is for the Xbox. Okay. It was designed to be played on a Sunday afternoon from your couch.
We'll see if he puts it on sale. Isn't it only like $8 or $10 anyway?
It's like $10, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if he puts it on sale like he should. If he makes it like $2.50 or $5, I'll buy it.
That will
no
never,
TF2 promo items. Don't care.
See,
that
like
actually would have been a good tie-in if you got a hat from that, because that's a pretty big part of the game. Like, it's named Fez.
Well, there's already a Fez in the game, so
Oh, well then fuck that. Fuck Phil Fish. That guy's a douchebag.
yeah. It's just a
I'm
TF2
still-
ripoff.
I'm still gonna play that game though. It's very charming.
I'll be honest, I kind of like that he. I mean, I don't like him as in his actual personality, but I do appreciate the fact that he sticks with his character. Like
Asshole?
he doesn't ever seem to relent on what he says.
He doesn't ever seem to be a decent human being by accident.
That's
consistently
basically
a
what I'm
dick.
saying.
Consistency is big.
Alright, we are back from commercial break. We have some Twitter questions. Why don't you go ahead and lead us off, Nick?
Sure thing, bro. So, first off is a question from the wonderfully named Dorsehick. And this is actually a pretty interesting question just because of how broad it is. What is the best sound? Not including music. Just the best sound. What? Like, there are I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a lot of sounds. Like,
I've
just
heard a
generally.
couple in my day.
I would say the best sound is the I don't know if I think it originated in Wolfenstein or ET, but the hit sound for ET, just the hit sound for a headshot, that is the best sound.
I would say
That up is.
I would say a huge turd hitting the water
That's,
after it exits your body.
Yeah, have you ever heard the bloop? Yeah, the bloop actually wasn't recorded in the ocean. It was just some dude's John.
Texas dog barking, not the best sound.
no. I don't even know what
enjoying
he's
it.
barking at.
I like the crackle when you backstab a medic who has an Uber charge.
There you go. That's pretty
That's
good.
that's a good one.
There are a lot of good game sounds that stick with you.
Oh,
Like you don't necessarily remember everything about the game, but you remember a specific sound from it. That's
Yeah, the sound that the UFO made in XCOM when you opened it, like the original XCOM game, it's just like this whoosh, like metallic. No, oh man, I will always remember that sound.
The best sound, I think, personally, is the sound that my two esports trophies make when I clang them together. That's the best sound, I think, personally.
it's hard to argue with that. That's the sound.
yeah.
That's the sound of glory.
Yeah.
Sound
like
of triumph.
I like the sound of ejaculation coming from a really dry pee hole, so it's like so you get that lubrication at the same time.
What?
It was dry up until that point. And that also means that you have to start dry and you have to go quick so that none of the pre-cum has time to lubricate it. So then it makes that sound on exit.
So incredibly specific.
And perhaps followed up by the splash upon a dude's chest. So it's like
Okay.
something like
Well,
that.
I'm gonna have to double check to make sure the explicit box is checked on our iTunes feed.
It wasn't up until this point, but we went there. I guess. Does anybody else have anything to add to this wonderful question? I think we've
You
exhausted.
seem pretty well versed in singing sounds, so we're
Yeah.
Well, coming from you, John, it means a lot. So thank you. The next one comes from Chris Liu from 702, and he wants to know what our favorite starter Pokemon are. I would like to point out.
Charmander.
It's
I would like to
Charmander.
point out that I
Easy.
didn't select this question.
I did because you were going to be on the cast. That's a good question.
John selected it for me. Hex John. So
You're
John.
the only person that calls me John, and now I'm so confused because every time I think you're talking about actual John.
Yeah, you're not even a real John.
John Howell.
Don't even
Yeah, you're a
have-
Jonathan.
Yeah, fuck your H.
You're a
H
Jonathan. He has
H
an
for
H.
pussies.
He has an H just later. It comes later in the name. So John H says Charmander. Brandon says Charmander.
Yeah,
I
easy.
say Bulbasaur.
Man, this
It's
is
not, and
tough.
it's not necessarily that I have like an affinity towards Charmander, but it's about which Pokemon evolves into Charizard. And so
That's-
whatever the answer
fair.
to that question is, that is my answer, and thus my answer is Charmander.
That's a good point. Personally, I'm a big fan of Totodile because he also becomes a really badass dragon-esque Pokemon. He turns into Feraligatr, who's pretty goddamn cool. And competitively speaking, if you're talking about like competitive Pokemon, I would just say, I just want to put it out there. competitively speaking, Charizard's a piece of shit. So
Yeah, I was really worried about how
Yeah.
how it would
I know.
fare at next season's
I know
MLB
you.
Dallas.
I know. I know you're a really competitive-minded gamer, so I just wanted to put that out there. And
Thank
for
you,
alligator
Professor
shit's
Oak.
all over Charizard, and not just because he's water type.
Now, what actually qualifies as a starter Pokemon? Because I
One of
the
the
only
ones you- one of
the
the
only
first
ones that I've played, yeah, the only ones I've played are Red and Blue, and
Oh,
so
there's so many more than that.
Well,
now.
well, I know
the groundwork
that.
laid out in Red and Blue continued throughout the entire series. So, I mean, you would have to know what those Pokemon are, but just the same way, it's always 3 Pokemon that have 2 evolutions, and it's all like Grass, Water, Fire
Okay,
trio. But you know,
I
they're-
only asked that because I didn't know your answer because I only know the first 150. So
mine was the water starter from the next generation, from
Okay.
Generation 2.
all right.
And to be fair, there's also Pikachu from Pokemon Yellow and Eevee from XD Gale of Darkness, which was a pile of shit. So if you pick Eevee, fuck you. Not saying Eevee's bad, but XD Gale of Darkness was a pile of shit, so fuck you.
I think someone in chat is going to be very upset now because I saw someone
this
say
has
Eevee.
been-
Fuck that
more
guy.
Pokemon
If he likes Gale of Darkness, he can just unsubscribe now. Fuck that guy. Okay, respected. I think that's what it's supposed to be because it doesn't have any vowels. RSPCTD asks if you could only say one vulgar phrase for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cock bagel.
That's pretty. I like cock bagel. I don't think I've heard that one before. I like bagels. I like cocks. It goes together. Sounds good.
Gonna go with shit on my cock and call me Sally.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's oddly specific.
Well, does that mean that we can, when like in any situation where a vulgar phrase would be appropriate, where we would want to use a vulgar phrase, we have to fall back on that one, or is that literally the only thing we can say for the rest of
No,
our
I
lives?
think that's the rule. Is anytime you would want to say something vulgar, this is the only thing you can say.
Okay. It's a hard one. There's so many good ones. I do like Thunder Cunt, Scooby Doodles, and Chad.
Brandon would say gosh darn it. So
Yeah,
I have heard Brandon say fuck. I have heard it.
Well, I don't know about that. There's. I have to abstain from this question only because I think the point of this question was an attempt to get me to swear on the podcast.
It was
Probably.
it was absolutely.
And so I'm not going to
for
honor
episode
that
100,
attempt.
Brandon will say fuck.
You know what, Brand? It's not always all about you. So
I'm
think
just
about
saying. I'm just saying. This is, I didn't pick this question, but I think that was his intent. So
Let's say twat chomper.
Wow, that's a good one. I've never heard that one before.
That's because I made it up,
Oh, okay.
but it sounds good.
It does.
So I don't know how much longevity it would really have because I'm just beta testing it now, but
Or
that
maybe, I think version 1.1 will probably be good.
gonna have to triple check the explicit flag this week. We're definitely testing the Twitch profanity filter.
oh god, who put this fucking image in the doc?
It is
Just
the
scroll
best
down and
image.
saw it.
Next, we have a question from Ninjite asking, which would you have as your personal bodyguard? The Terminator, Sergeant Rex Power Cult, or RoboCop?
Terminator.
I would
Yeah,
go
I
Rex
think-
Power Cult.
I would go Hayden Panettiere personally. But.
I mean, I think like the most powerful out of all of them is definitely Terminator.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, it's. I feel like it's good either way. I mean, your bodyguard, you want someone who's going to protect you.
Right.
All 3 choices. I mean,
I already have a robot bodyguard. It's Rob the Robot from the NES. So.
I agree with
Fuck
Connor
you.
in the chat. Power Cult just because of the one-liners.
You don't think
It's
those
true.
would get old?
No, I'd be okay with it.
Do you think
Plus, he has that half robot arm and the crazy guns. I'd be okay.
Yeah, he's the one that's actually like part human, right? I mean,
Yeah.
RoboCop technically was a human, but I think he was like revived by like the whole movie was about how like whether or not he still retained any human,
Pretty much, yeah.
emotion.
Thanks,
and
asshole. I
instinct.
was gonna watch that.
I'm gonna
Spoilers,
I'm gonna
please.
say the Terminator only because I think the Terminator, you have other opportunities with the Terminator. Like you could take him around and use him as for marketing opportunities, right? Make money off of him. Everyone knows Terminator. Instead of I don't need a
That's true,
full-time
bro.
bodyguard when I'm just hanging out
Everybody
at
knows
home.
RoboCop
I need
too, but
I need
I
someone
think-
who can work for me.
I would make him go and
Do like kids' birthday parties and stuff.
I would make him go beat up the real Arnie, just to fuck with everyone's head. Like, wait till he makes like a press conference about something, and then like my Terminator just like drops in and just beats the shit out of him, and everybody's like, wait, what?
What?
But see, I feel
What
like
just happened?
I feel like then you're bringing a lot of undue attention on your bodyguard, and then he's, then maybe he gets taken away from you.
Yeah, that's
It's like
true.
you have to be really. I mean, these guys are really powerful. It's like if they just happen to like fire into a bunch of people, all of a sudden you have a problem
that's
on your
true.
hands.
I don't know. It might be worth it though. I just like abandoned him. I had him I guess once I got bored of him. Because I mean, I do like the idea that nobody would try to fuck with me because I got Arnie in prime condition. Arnie at the peak of his physical condition. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Always next to me. Nobody's gonna fuck with me. But honestly, I don't have that many enemies. I feel like I could be wrong.
That's
Well,
what
I
I'm
might have made a
saying.
few
You
when
want to get the most marketable one so you can have him go do stuff for you. I don't need
Right,
a
but-
bodyguard.
Right, but once I marketed him
Brandon will
enough,
fight anybody. He doesn't need a bodyguard.
Yeah.
once I marketed him enough, I would have enough money to just be like, I don't care anymore. I don't need to make
That's
more
true.
money. I could already buy
That's
everything
true.
I want.
You could
So
you
let's
could
go
live
have him
out.
beat
You
up
could
the
live out.
governor of California.
Still couldn't buy 3 unusual hats, you fucking douche.
What unusuals are there? I'm actually really curious.
I have the planet's Milky Way, or the planet's Milkman. I have the smoking tricorn for the demo, and I have the pyro little spinny thing with smoking as well.
Those are all pretty low quality unusuals.
I
terms of
wanted the
value.
I wanted the Milky Man.
Orbiting planet. Oh, I mean that one's probably worth a decent amount. But.
All right.
Anyway.
So this next question I picked particularly for Nick to read.
Oh god. Katie Zen 18 wants to know. Period. Should Rad Atemp 2 with 2 O's shuv tinfoil Ches sculpture in B post butt or ORE 91 Lego box in Phil Fish urethra? Please up the side.
Up the side is pretty fantastic.
Bliss up the side. Up the
To the
side
left.
sounds like a metal band name.
I hate feeding this trend, but I also love it.
Well, it's always Katie's in, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Katie's in his have just been the highest quality, but there have been others attempting to match
I
this
would say-
brilliance.
I would say if you're not Katie's in, don't even try. You can't even touch that.
Yeah,
I could.
I mean,
I
that's
could.
really the only reason I picked it is because I just feel like this is another high quality question, from the bowels of Reddit.
Would rather fight 100 horse-sized duck.
I mean, I don't know what he's asking, but one of them involves Bob and one of them involves Phil Fish.
And
Wow.
the sculpts are shaped like Ches, so...
Yeah, it's a tinfoil sculpture of Ches. Which one would you rather do? Take a tinfoil sculpture of Ches and put it in Bob's butt? Or would you rather attempt to stuff 91 Lego blocks up Phil Fish's urethra?
That one.
I agree with
I
that
like
one,
Phil
'cause-
Fish.
You would.
Don't you? Don't you just?
I
isn't he
love the
best?
villain.
I would say Phil Fish's urethra because I feel like that'd be really painful for him and it might teach him some humility.
That's fair.
Because
That's
it's
fair.
hard to treat anybody like you're better than them when you've had 91 Lego blocks shoved up your penis. So
I feel like 91 is maybe a little. I mean, he's saying, would we rather attempt, one or the other? Like,
yeah,
Here's
I
the
mean,
real question.
I mean,
Which
how-
Legos
am I
are they
really-
talking about? Are they talking about like the long bricks or the small square bricks or the
does
little
it
ones that,
matter
like,
when you're talking about 91 of them?
I
know
mean,
how
we're
many kidney
talking,
stones I've
we're
had,
talking
dude?
maybe
Like-
like 3 tops, and then he's probably gonna die. he's probably gonna die, or at least have a permanently mangled penis after.
The
That's-
method that you use to get the first one in is going to kill him.
Oh god. The human urethra is surprisingly viable.
is surprisingly resilient.
Yeah,
I think.
it'll spring back.
I wonder, is there a male version of that little like alligator mouthing they use at gynecologists?
Yeah, it's called a catheter, and they're fucking horrible.
Is it
How
called? I
about
thought a
that?
cath was just a tube that they stick in there so you can pee.
Yeah, it
with a
is,
balloon
but,
on
like,
the end.
Yeah.
A, there's a balloon on the end, and B, your pee hole's like this big. A catheter is like that
yeah.
big. So
Do you know how big a Lego block is?
Yeah, Lego block.
We're
is
talking
like,
about serious deformation.
Yeah. This is like that's really bad. And
If
that's,
you try,
that's
if you
not even
manage,
out.
if you manage to fit 91 blocks, and you're eventually just in like his stomach cavity.
His ball sack is full of Legos. His like everything.
his ball sack is full of Lego.
He's probably.
Can we make a T-shirt that says "Phil Fish's ball sack is full of Legos"?
Yes, please, please. Okay. Does anybody else want to take this next question? Or you want me to do it? I don't care. I'll do it.
You're a good narrator.
Fuck it. I'll do it. SAAC6 wants to know if you could replace your penis with any household object, what would it be?
I'm gonna guess John would say one of his esports trophies.
Vacuum cleaner.
That's
I think he already
exactly what I was
has.
gonna say, actually. So I could put it in Justin's butt.
I think he already has done that, actually.
Get some synergy with our last question going.
Yeah, Lego blocks. Duh.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Could I just replace my semen with very tiny Lego blocks? And if I got really good at it, could I like assemble a little house every time I ejaculated?
You gotta really like work for. You could build like a space shuttle when you're done.
Yeah, that's right, bitch. I'm gonna lay a X-wing on your goddamn titties. How you like that?
Occasionally
I got
we have
sick.
questions that really make me fear, like the imaginations of our stream viewers.
Or
Kinda
our
makes you
viewers
not
in
ever
general.
repeat them. I don't know.
Like when
there's
someone
plenty of
puts
good-
a drill in all caps.
It's pretty terrible. A frying pan? Really?
Wow.
I don't think you mean that here,
Switchblade.
Dylan.
That's taser. That's a rough one.
Does taser really count as a household object? I feel like to be a household object,
It's a
I think
stretch, yeah.
the average house has to have one.
Well, no house has
Chainsaw.
my esports trophies. Only I have those.
Sure. That's true. Oh, a Coke can? How about a Coke can?
Swifter. That's a Swiffer. That's a good one. I like Swiffer. That's a great answer.
Yeah, I feel like
Beats by
I mean,
Dre.
Let's turn it into a dog.
Into a living dog.
Are dogs objects? Is that?
I feel like that's kind of getting away from the spirit of the question. Dogs are not household objects by most people's definition.
I would imagine not. I believe they're usually considered beloved pets.
Sean says he would
Sometimes
replace his
family
penis
members.
with Phil Fish. That's the best answer. Just
I would replace my penis with a fish named Phil.
a lava lamp. That's a good one.
I feel like
then-
you want something that's going to actually be useful around the house, right? Because you
course.
don't necessarily have to wear clothes at home, right? So just whatever can be useful in in your daily life. So maybe have it be like a bottle of have it filled with like cleaner or something, like bleach or I
You
don't
just
know.
want to ejaculate
Just-
bleach. That's
I mean,
Here's
why
the
not?
question. Here's the question. Do you retain feeling in the object? Because if not, your sex life is ruined, and if so, you don't want anything that's actually
See, that's a good point. We didn't-
actually a tool. Like
didn't
I would say,
consider
I would
that.
say a hammer would work because it's always handy to have a hammer on you. Plus, I can make my hammer or the hammer is my penis
my
joke.
penis joke. Yeah.
But if I still retained all sensation in there, I'm never gonna bang a nail with my penis hammer because that would hurt like a motherfucker.
That's true.
So
That's-
that's a major thing to
We need
consider.
further clarification on this question because that
We're gonna
actually
have to-
changes
we're gonna take this one
everything.
back to the lab and then
That changes everything.
Back to the drawing board with the hammer penis question.
Next up,
Uh,
we have Slender Cthulhu.
Yeah.
When will we be seeing the return of Hexadecimal's chair to streaming? I miss that guy. Best streamer I've ever seen.
Well, he's definitely
is-
better than Hex.
This is like the fourth or fifth time someone is asking, like, when are you going to stream your chair again? So I think, like, on Tuesdays, I'm just going to turn my stream on when I go to bed and let people watch my chair. Because apparently, my chair is just infatuating.
And that's how we get actual proof that one ghost exists and your new house is haunted.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that your chair is infatuating. It's just that it brings the
like
average quality of your stream up.
So far up. And it just seems so much more interesting by comparison.
Now,
know,
see,
than
if you could,
everybody
here's what you
else.
need to do. If you could just have gameplay, right? Maybe you're playing the game off to the side or whatever, but you have gameplay, but then you stream the chair, right? Because no one, I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest, no one wants to
yeah,
see
they
you.
want to see me. That's fair. I mean, I don't even want to see me most of the time.
I want to see you right now. Get under your desk. Chair's back, everybody. Who did it?
He's actually
did.
gone under his desk. This is an improvement.
Fuck you, Brandon.
This is because Hex seeks approval, so I knew I could get him to do that.
Yeah, so someone's going to start the Twitter account Hex's Chair. I see it coming.
Yep. I think somebody already grabbed up Dan's dead balls, right?
I hope so. I really hope so.
If not, they have now.
Yeah. These guys are quick with that. They love those novelty Twitter accounts. This was actually a pretty interesting one. I like this one. Dane 022 wants to know if we could dabble in any drug without the negative side effects, which one would it be? And I would have to say LSD, I think, because that's.
I mean, without negative side effects, I feel like that would change my perception of all hard drugs because
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah, because the main thing, I mean, you got to keep in mind that it's not only the immediate effects. Because like, I mean, heroin, obviously, part of the effect is that you just chill out and go comatose for a little while. But there's also the effect, the immediate effects we think of is the really crippling addiction,
Yeah.
the possibility of doing it wrong and fucking up your veins and
exactly
having-
like I don't really know what on some of the drugs, like I've never done them, so I don't know what the really positive feeling is like. It's hard for me to say which one I would use because
See,
I
I
can
think
I can't
that's-
separate them from the negative, the negative
Canine
aspect.
has it right. I agree with him. I'd probably take some Gamma Labs.
That's fair.
With
Well,
the negative side effects being I become a professional Call of Duty pro gamer. I don't want that.
Well, I think we also have to discount the less immediate side effects of legal troubles, ruining your life. I think those
Yeah.
those also count as side effects.
I'd take steroids. My penis isn't going to get small. Let's do this.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
actually a good
that's
point.
option.
That's a
Do
good
this.
point. That's a drug. Yeah.
see, I think you're limiting yourself pretty severely by only going with the illegal ones. Like, I think I would honestly like
Smoke.
Vicodin. Like, have you even ever had to take Vicodin for something? Man, because you can be high functioning on Vicodin, and you feel great, and you just don't poop. Like, that's it. You just never poop.
I kind of like pooping though.
Yeah, I
too.
know.
Big
I
fan.
mean, I love pooping. Pooping
It's
is
a good.
great.
It's a
Could we-
good
would
excuse
that-
to break out my 3DS.
Could we say then that would be a negative side effect? Like how do we determine
that's a good
negative
point,
side
yeah.
effects?
Not
You know what?
pooping
Here's the
is a
thing:
negative
if
side
you
effect.
don't poop for like a week and a half, you will literally want to kill yourself. So like
Yes,
that's
so-
the worst
so, yeah,
part.
that-
Like,
So
We
the
got some
poop
Lego
problem
bricks that
would
could help
actually
with
be
that.
solved by the terms of the question. So I think you would still have things running smooth. And yeah, okay, I would probably go with that because I was about to say and Brandon, I'm starting to get kind of what you were mentioning where I really can't disassociate the
Yeah.
effects of the drug with the negative side effects because originally I was thinking I have not been on Vicodins but I have been on Percocets when I got my
yeah,
wisdom
that's
teeth.
that's a good one. Same thing.
And it's like yeah, they're supposed to be the same thing, but I absolutely despise Percocets because
Percocet makes you sick to the stomach really easily, though.
Percocet didn't give me that. It had apparently like a small percentage of people who take Percocets get this, or a rather large percentage. I think like something like 33% of people. You start to like shake and feel like you're burning and prickling and itchy all over.
Yeah, you're allergic to Percocet. Don't ever take that again.
Yeah. So apparently that's a pretty high percentage of the population that gets that, and some people continue to take it despite that.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, that's.
I guess-
I mean,
I guess if
That's
you could
what's
get
up.
rid of it, that wouldn't be bad. But then again, we're talking about dabbling, so this needs to be like a
Oh.
big night because it specifically says dabble. This isn't like if you're taking Vicodin. I mean, yeah, you feel good, but like I feel like unless you could take that every day without the negative side effects, it wouldn't really be worth it.
That's
So is
true.
Is this saying no negative side effects so I could shoot like fucking 4 gallons of heroin and not die?
And not OD.
I think
yeah,
that's
'cause
what
that-
we're saying.
death
But
a
then again,
negative
is that really dabbling if you have 4 gallons?
you would need a hell of a
That's a
spoon.
normal
entire
Friday.
bloodstream with heroin. Yeah, I think that isn't really. I think we've moved beyond the realm of dabbling at that point.
I think I go with like LSD or something.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
trying to dabble, LSD would be a good one.
I'm gonna fall back on
Go
my
to some
original
EDM
LSD.
shows with Scott.
I'm still going to
Just
go with
chill out.
steroids. Trying to get ripped.
Need all the edges you can get. Make some crazy gains.
I don't think you're gonna get any more gains than you already have, John.
That's
Yeah,
very
I
true. I
mean-
mean, look at this shirt. Like my arms look small, but that's because these are 4X
That's
sleeves.
what I'm saying. The
Only
camera's
the-
angle distorts how large your arms are.
Yeah. Well,
Because they're big this way.
I can personally
a
vouch
depth thing.
they're huge.
yeah, I'm a big guy.
Everything. And the last one comes from TJ Moore, 2014, and TJ wants to know which famous YouTuber would you like to fight?
The annoying orange. Fuck that thing.
It
That's
is
a
pretty
really
annoying.
good answer. That's a really good answer.
I hate that thing.
I would fight Linus.
Who?
Linus. I fucking hate Linus.
I don't know who that is.
Linus Tech Tips. Hi, I'm paid by a company to tell you all the wrong things about computer parts, and I make more money than you will ever dream.
Um,
I fucking hate Linus.
I kind of want to fight Ray William
You're a bad
Johnson,
man.
just because. I mean, I don't even need to explain that. But at the same time, I think it would be fun to fight somebody who I don't necessarily mind either. Like Tobuscus. Tobuscus is kind of annoying, but I don't really hate him either. But I would like to see what he's like in a fight, because he's always so like, oh, I'm so wacky and crazy and high energy and everything's all silly. I would like to see what happens when he's actually getting punched in the face and needs to punch someone else in the face. I just want to see him put into that situation, see how he handles it. What is
He
what
throws
did
money
GT?
into your eyes. He throws
Yeah,
money into your eyes, and
He's
you're
just
fucked.
he's like hunnits, and then
He lights
blinded by all
a
the
pile
mention.
of money and burns you with
Yeah.
said pile of
I
money.
think the question hinges on, would the fight actually be recorded and put on YouTube? Because that really changes things.
I think
That's a
that's
fair
inevitable.
I
think
can't
that
believe
is
no one
inevitable.
has said Jordy yet.
I don't want to fuck with him. He's like 900 pounds.
Yeah, but you know it's a fight you could win.
I don't know
I don't
that.
know. He's got like natural armor.
That's fair. That's
Well.
fair. But have you seen him try to do jumping jacks? Like, it's hilarious.
You ever see? Have you ever seen Fist of the North Star? And there's the one guy that he can't. He's so fat he can't hit any of his pressure points, so he has to go at one point over and over until he burrows through all his fat. That's what it'd be like trying to fight Jordy, and I can't punch that fast.
That's
So
you can
yeah,
just hit him with his truck.
I would fight
Well,
Captain Sparkles in a stadium, and we would sell tickets, and we would sell.
Love it.
We would sell out.
yeah, you would sell. You would fill a stadium.
We completely
It's true.
sell out. We would stage
why
the
would you
whole
wanna
thing.
fight Jordan?
No,
Jordan's a
listen.
really
I'm
nice
not.
guy.
Listen, not done. We would stage the whole thing, right? It would be WWE style, right? It would be really. There'd be a great ending, and I would probably have him win, because most of the people buying tickets, probably going to be younger kids, and so basically we'll start the next World Wrestling Federation with that event.
The YouTube Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
I cannot wait until YouTubers get their own version of celebrity boxing. That is going to be
That
awesome.
I would watch the shit out of. That would
I
be
would watch
hilarious.
That's a Kickstarter waiting to happen.
Kickstarted
God,
Street,
Nick.
do it. I'm actually I'm all down for that. And not to mention, if you somehow won that, you would get you would then, I believe, by beating him and asserting your dominance over him, you would then gain all of his creepy stalker 13-year-old fangirls.
This is
Right.
the thing you would have to lose to him, because if you do kill him or hurt him in some way, you are going to be raped to death
Well,
by
that's
13-year-old girls.
that's true. That it
Yeah.
really only ends one way, because if I win, I still lose.
Everyone hates you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the guy that hurt Captain Sparkles, so...
In a filled stadium, you would have like 5 people rooting for you.
I would hate myself if I won. Let's be clear. All right, guys, that is it for the podcast this evening. Thank you for coming out. I'd like to thank Nick for coming out, Hex for coming out. Well, Hex was
The
here.
doctor for cutting
Thanks.
off impulse.
Well, Hex is here, but we don't want to thank him.
Yeah, thanks for being here, I suppose, and John. We should have Dan and Scott back next week. I will be gone next week for personal reasons, but thank you for coming out.
He's
As
having his balls
always,
removed next week.
Well,
R.I.P. Brandon's balls.
close engagement pictures.
Oh,
That
now
sounds
you're in trouble.
No. You can
I'd
follow
like to
us
thank-
on all of our social media. You don't get to thank anyone. I'm hosting
I want
this
to
call.
thank Hex's chair.
Well, thanks Hex's chair for bringing us Hex, I guess. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/KBMOD, twitter.com/KBMODgaming, YouTube, all of our Twitter. If you're watching on the stream, I think someone posted them in stream chat. We will be back next week with episode 92. Thank you for coming out. Later, guys.